Eric?
Thanks. My name is Eric Redding. I'm VP of Alliances and Business Development for a company called Science Logic. Science Logic has been around for about 13 years. So we're the leader of the hybrid IT monitoring platform for both service providers and enterprises. As this shift that's happening in the marketplace, there's a lot of concerns of how do I get to the cloud? How do I operate my data center? How do I operate once I go to the cloud? And we don't solve that problem. And we do that with a unified platform that integrates with all the different technologies that you might maintain. And for service providers, I actually know this, Eric's been a long-time customer, use our platform to deliver advanced and differentiated services to the enterprise. Because as you make this journey, you're looking for trusted advisors. You want to have a rich experience. You want to make the right decisions. And once you get to the cloud, you want to understand how it's operating, what resources you have there, making sure that they're operating as expected, and providing all that transparency and visibility into the latency as you move those workloads. So our platform and our company was built on that premise, and we've been growing very healthily through the channel and also through this transition. We see this as a major tectonic shift. And so we're here to help provide those additional services to you and to your providers so that it's a great experience once you get to the cloud.
Eric,
Yes. No.
Eric with the K. Give some sense of the scale. You know, I think about the IT elements you guys know about and monitor. I mean, how many are in your platform?
Yeah, so we did some estimates, and we recognize about 25,000 customers that are being influenced by our technology. A lot of our customers are very large service providers that have hundreds, if not thousands of customers. But we see this shift increasing as more and more the cloud adoption happens. It's really helping us accelerate. So if you've seen us in the trades, we've just been growing quite
It's in
healthily.
the billions, right, of IT elements that you guys are monitoring.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we look at this as a $25 billion market. A lot of the traditional systems management tools have sort of failed as they made this transition and sort of capitalizing on it.
Brian? Eric? Brian?
So I'm Brian Doerr. I'm the CEO of Observable Networks. And much of what Eric just said about monitoring and deploying workloads into the cloud applies to our company, which assists with security. So our company is a software as a service security provider. We provide security across all different types of application infrastructure: private, virtualized environments, public cloud, IoT environments, all of which are serviced by what we call a technology we call endpoint modeling, which allows us to watch the behavior of each endpoint, regardless of where it resides and operates, and determine when that endpoint starts to demonstrate behaviors that might be indicative of some kind of compromise. We are very applicable to what I think will be the focus of much of today's conversation, which will be hybridized deployment of applications, where you've got a combination of fixed and virtual assets in a private data center and public cloud virtualized assets, all connected in unique ways, all of which need a common approach to IT security, which is what Observable Networks provides.
And one of the reasons we have 6 panelists, including myself, is it takes a lot of different things to kind of understand the cloud. But I think as we go through it, you'll see how simple it is to adopt the cloud, run in a hybrid environment, which I do think will be the larger environment out there deployed, how safe it can be, how easy, transparent, and so forth. So one of our goals is to kind of walk you through that and let you know that this is actually something that's easy to do. The technology is here. It's no longer a conversation. It's actually up, it's working, and now you've got things like Portland happening with the first metro deployment from a company like Amazon and AWS. But with that said, I would like to start with kind of a simplistic question, Duncan. First of all, the moderator is the dumbest guy on the panel always, so I don't mean simplistic for him.
Too late.
I ask the questions because I can't answer them.
Wait, before you ask the question, I have to make one comment
Yes.
on your cloud services conversation with me 5 years ago.
Yes.
And that was when I said, cloud services, what are you talking about? He said, just listen to me now, but believe me later.
Everybody's gonna see cloud in your title, and they're not gonna know if you're buying from them or selling to them. So he was right, and it's fascinating. I mean,
multi-billion-dollar
yeah,
stuff.
It's crazy.
So let's just start with, could you give a little bit about public versus private cloud? Let's just hit that real quick and get it off the table.
Sure, so the most common public cloud obviously is AWS, the EC2 cloud, which is basically shared infrastructure where you can spin up server infrastructure and store data and use the shared infrastructure in a very simple way. Private cloud is the same concept for a single customer. So if you think of GE makes a bunch of airplane engines. Every time an airplane takes off and lands, they have to offload data from each of the engines on the airplane, and they have to do the analysis of the data that they offload in their own private cloud, and then they use that information to determine whether or not they need to do maintenance or whether or not they need to replace an engine or whatever. And so the private cloud environment is for things that are much more security oriented, obviously, and much more associated with a single customer who's trying to manage their own environment. And then obviously hybrid is when you connect the two together or connect the public cloud to other private infrastructure, home office, communication facilities.
So thank you for ending with hybrid. So Eric with K, as we think about companies either having some level of cloud out there, infrastructure, trying to consolidate, or taking the first step into a cloud and looking at it thinking, wow, this seems to be a fairly daunting task to manage assets across the virtualization environment along with my own private environment. What does Science Logic do to help them with that, either one of those, whether it's the first step in or it's a consolidation down? How does your company help them figure that out?
Yeah, before I get to that, I think one of the things that we see is, I've attended a lot of conferences lately, is that people are moving to the cloud to transform their business. You hear about the digital economy, the digital revolution, and that's really happening. Look at Airbnb, look at Uber, look at these traditional technology companies or non-technology companies having to move into a more digital society in order to survive. And a lot of analysis says that if you don't move to the cloud, if you don't transform your business, you'll be gone in 10 years or less. And so we see that as a real shift, and that's a transformation. When you think about how to get there, and the benefits of cloud around agility, flexibility, bursting into that cloud example, or actually getting out of the data center business and giving that to providers that actually can deliver that, you're having to transform your business. You're having to change the way you look at how you deliver that. So it's a combination of people, process, and technology. Technology is very useful, and we provide that as a unified platform to visualize how all my workloads are working today. And so then I can have a really good understanding, so if I do choose to move some of those into the cloud, or public cloud, or multiple clouds, I get that same level of experience. So I need to train my people how to do that. I also have to have the right technology partners and have to have the right processes. So our solution builds the foundation for a lot of the instrumentation across the Amazon cloud, the public cloud from Amazon, as well as the private cloud, so you have one holistic view of all of that. And it really builds that trust that comes from visibility. And so the platform is really